It's been a really long time since my last update, and this one encompasses 22 days, so that's more than 3 weeks. If you watch my fairy inkjet video from about a week ago, you'll recognize this footage. It's footage of mycelial mats. They're so thick you can see them very easily with your eyes. They're white and they're kind of, like roots, but they're not quite the same at all in structure. This is the beginning of shoot system number 9. So previously it took forever to go from 6 to 8 shoot systems, and now we have a 9th one. And it's probably connected to this plant, which has, a rhizome stub sticking out, in my opinion. So this isn't what I thought it was. It's just a leaf got stuck in the developing stalk and kind of forced apart the shoot system. It's not anything special. This is shoot system number 9 a few days later, and shoot system number 10 just showed up out of nowhere. So there's been a lot of growth, and we've acquired 2 more shoot systems. This is shoot system number 9 after a few more days. So the growth of these new shoot systems is always impressive. So here's an overview of everything, starting with Big Bertha, emanating from the center. And there's been a lot more vegetative growth. And the other, shoot systems just aren't anywhere near as tall as Big Bertha. So we have 10 shoot systems right now, and it seems like this pot must be getting pretty full, otherwise why would there be shoot systems showing up at the edges? It's day 146, so it's been a really busy day after work, and I got this huge pot. It's 20 inches in diameter, which is, that's like 51 centimeters in diameter. So I emptied the remaining Stay Green potting mix, and I bought 2 more cubic feet of potting mix here. And this has 9 months worth of fertilizer in it. So it comes in these rigid chunks, but they're not like rocks or anything. They just require my fingers to break them apart and kind of pat everything down and make it nice and soft and even. Having filled this monster new pot with fresh potting mix that's all nice and dry and hopefully parasite free, insect free, I started digging through this small pot, and that's just one of those rhizome cuttings that never germinated. It's hollow inside. It's been completely rotted away. So I gingerly started excavating and getting rid of all the sand. So right here I tugged on what I presume to be the second of 2 rhizome cuttings that never germinated, but actually I broke something off. That was that very long slice from the very beginning that had that one bud. It's from the very bottom of that half rhizome that I used to make the 6 original rhizome cuttings. So this is some ancient history, archaeology being dug up here. It's pretty fun to reminisce about that stuff. But this whole thing was just one big thick root ball, and it looks like here there's just tons of ginger waiting to be unearthed. But it's not actually as promising as it looks at this point, because a lot of it just turned out to be roots. So, I didn't want to just wedge my hands in the side and yank the whole thing out and rip up all the roots and destroy everything like a brute. But, at one point I had excavated enough dirt and I managed to do that. So this was just kind of like archaeology or paleontology, just kind of dusting dirt away and hoping not to damage stuff. So this piece belongs to what I'm going to call plant number 1 from now on. It only has 1 shoot system right now, and it has a new bud that will probably generate a 2nd shoot system, and that came from one of the original 4 out of 6 active pieces of rhizome cuttings that had a bud. And here's what I'm going to call plant number 2 from now on. It has 2 active shoot systems. It had those 2 lumps, but this too also has no new rhizome generation. So there was a period of time early on in this documentary where I thought I was creating premature drought conditions, mimicking a dry season by not watering from the top, with the reasoning that the roots were very shallow. Well, it turns out that's not true at all. I mean, this whole pot was a root ball. There clearly wasn't enough room. So let's see what we have here. I'm calling this plant 3 because it has 3 shoot systems, and that's shoot system number 10 that I observed earlier. So, no rhizomes again there. So this is what I'm going to call plant 4 because it has 4 shoot systems. So it's very convenient how that turned out, but I think it's a great nomenclature system. This plant 4 has a huge root ball. It was the central rhizome cutting, the most successful earliest on, but this one just doesn't seem to have any rhizome material either. It just seems to have that original rhizome cutting, and it's got big bertha attached and 3 other medium-sized plants. It's by far the most successful, but this one too has nothing but roots. It just has that rhizome cutting in the middle and kind of 4 welts that lead to the 4 shoot systems and a ton of roots. It's interesting to note this, but when I was digging these 4 plant systems apart, I was ripping a lot of roots, and it seemed like they were almost all interconnected. I guess that's because roots tried to go everywhere and they basically interwove and interlaced each other. So more dirt is always unequivocally better. So when I dug these plant systems up, I didn't see any mycelial mats ensheathing the root systems. That means the fairy inkcap mushroom died, and that's why I haven't seen mushrooms for quite a while. So I'm not going to water with tap water anymore. I'm going to go back to using distilled water because I think I had a lot better mushroom growth back then. And also I won't spray any pesticides. I sprayed pesticides for a brief while, just a little, to kill all the spider mites which have been plaguing the other plants. So I'm hoping to reestablish mushroom growth.